Hello guys. So in this video we will take a look at what is geometric network, how can we create one, and how can we edit it in ArcMap. So geometric network is a way to create a utilities network, something similar to electricity, to water network, or to cable network. It's different from the network analysis we created before because geometric is used for utilities, network dataset is used for streets and routing. So here on our catalog in our course data we have a folder called geometric network. It have a geodatabase called geometric geodatabase and geometric dataset and empty MXD called geometric network. In order for us to create a geometric network, we need to have a feature class of type line that is connected to each other, and we need to have another points. Let's say for example we will create a geometric network that represent electricity. So electricity have power stations, it have stations to split the power, and then it have the lines that connect the electricity. So to represent our lines we will go to our California network dataset. So we will copy our freeway layer from our network dataset in California dataset to our geometric dataset, just because we know that we draw these freeways in a really good way and it's connected. So we will right click and say export to geodatabase single, and I will save it into the geometric dataset. We'll change the output name to electric lines and we will say OK. Now it's running right here, it succeed, and now we have our electric lines here. The other thing we will do, we will copy also the network junctions from our network dataset to represent the power stations and the split stations. So we are going to right click here again and say export to single geodatabase, and we are gonna put it in our geometric network. Add, let's call this one power stations, and I'll say OK. And here it's running, succeed. Let's see here. So we have the power station and we have the electric lines. Copy this one and paste it here, and we will change the name to split stations. And we will see how can we use this data in ArcMap to create our geometric network. So let's open the geometric network MXD and let's add the three layers we just copied. So here, all of them add. So what we will do right now, we have the split stations and we have the power stations exactly the same. So if I hide this one, it have the same point. If I had this one, it have the same point. So we need the power stations to be different than the split stations. In order to do that, let's delete some of the split stations right here. So let's enable editing and we will edit the split stations, and we choose selection and make sure that there is no selection for the lines. And here we will delete this one as a split station and delete this one, and also here and here and here. So we deleted about 5 or 6 split stations. Right now let's go back to our layers, enable the power stations, and what we will do right now, we will select from the power stations the points that have the same location as the split stations by going to selection, select by location. I want to select from power stations the one that intersect with the split stations. I'll say OK, and now I have all this power stations that I don't want selected, so I will delete. So now it's deleted. So now when I have my power station off, I am sure that all of this is a split stations, and when I switch between them I have my power stations right here. And this 3 feature layers right here will help me create a really nice geometric network that represents electric lines, and this electric lines have power stations and also have split stations. So let's save our edits and stop the edits. Let's save this MXD and close it. Go back to our catalog, and go to our geometric data set, right click here and say I want to create a new geometric network. And again, geometric network have to be created inside a feature data set, and you must at least have like some features like points or lines to create the geometric network. Right click, I'll say next. I'll keep the name the same, next. Here I will select all of these layers to use them in my geometric network. I'll say next. And here it asks us what is the rule for each feature class. So for the electric lines, it's a simple edge. It's not a source. The power station is a source, so I will say yes. And split stations is not a source, and I will keep it the same way. I'll say next. Here also you can add fields for the weight and the cost if you have data that contains what is the type of the lines, or for example water utility, what is the size of the pipe and how much water can flow into this pipe. All this data can be added here into the weights for your network. So I will go next, and here shows you all the properties you set up for the network. We'll say finish. It will build our geometric network, and here give us an error saying that the geometric is built successfully, but we have one build error inside of it. What that error means is when the network was building, there is one of the points or lines that is not connected right, but we will see that in ArcMap when we open this geometric network in ArcMap. So let's say OK to this and open our MXD again. So now we have the three feature classes we already created. We will add our geometric network, add, and it will automatically add all the associated layers with this network. So I will remove the previous ones that I don't need anymore. And here I have my geometric network with the split stations, power stations, and electric lines. We can change the power station symbol to be like square and make it red. Change that to 12. And the split stations to triangle, blue, and make it 12 as well. Say OK. And now I have here my geometric network. So here what we will do, we'll right click here and open the geometric network editing toolbar. It shows that it's not enabled. We need to open an editing session, and still not enabled. We need to click on this part here on the geometric network in our table of content so we have it enabled. So let's see what tools we have here. Here we have connect. If you have any item that is not connected, you can connect it from here. And here you have disconnect. And here you have rebuild connectivity based on an area that I will select. Here rebuild the entire connectivity. Verify connectivity. When I click on it, it will give us a message say, do you want to verify the entire network, or you want to limit the verification to the extent we don't have a big geometric network. So I will just say OK. And here it gives us a message say all network connectivity is correct. So that's good. Let's see the other one here is verify network feature geometry tool, and here verify network geometry tool for all the network. So I will check on this one, and here everything is okay as well. Here the last one is network build errors. And remember when we created the geometric network from Arc catalog, we got one error saying that there is one feature that is not connected right. Let's click here, and here it highlighted the feature that is not connected. So we can go to this area, and here we can fix this error by choosing this one. And as you see right now, if I move this line, the entire network will move with it, but because this point here is disconnected, it's not moving with it. So let's say for example I choose this one and I move it right here. You see the entire network is moving along with my editing. If I choose one single point and I move it right here, it will move the entire network and update the entire network based on this location. Here, when we select this one, when we move our network, it's not connected to this line, and this is the error we need to fix. So let's delete this point right here, and let's move this one from here to here. And let's change this line to look like that. Let's delete this vertex and delete this one. And now we have our line connected to it. And now let's choose this area here and say connect. And let's say repair connectivity. I'll say OK. And then let's try to see if it's connected now or not. And now we fixed our network as you see right now. Also, you can go to any location and you can disconnect it. And this is how you can disconnect any piece of the network, and you can change it and you can connect it again. If we do a validation, you will see that we don't have any errors anymore because the error was in this area and we were able to fix it. Now let's say, for example, I have an area that I need to disconnect. Now let's say, for example, instead of having these two split stations, I want to connect them as one. So now let's, for example, delete this one by disconnect it first and then delete it, and then double click on here and take this vertex and put it right here. Make sure that our line looks better, and delete this vertex, delete this one, and say OK. And now let's try, if you move this one, you will see that it's not connected. What we need to do is to click here and say connect, and now all of them should be connected together like you see here right now. And the last step, we will say repair connectivity to make sure that everything is fine. And let's try to validate our network that everything is valid. We need to validate the entire network. So let's zoom to the entire network and say validate. Everything works fine. So that means that our network is now ready to work without any problems, and you can do more analysis on it. So this is how you can create a geometric network, and how you can edit it in ArcMap, and how you can connect pieces and reconnect pieces or disconnect pieces from the network and put them all together. What you do with the geometric network is based on what data and what kind of utility you are using. Also, one of the things that we can do on our geometric network is we can enable the utility network analyst. And here, because we have a geometric network data set, it's already selected in here. If you have multiple, it will show up here. Here, if you have a flow in your data, and you can show this flow by adding display arrows, and because there is no flow in our data, it's not showing arrows, it's showing like circles, and this one in the black right here. You can come to properties and you change how your symbol for the flow looks like, and you can change the scale right here. So you can change how your flow looks like, because our data doesn't have a flow, or where is the direction of the flow of the electricity or the utility we are using. It's not showing the arrows, but it's showing like this circles. So we are going to disable it from here. Here you can do some analysis similar to the network analysis we did on the routes, but here it shows different way of doing analysis. Like here you have different options like find common ancestors, find connected loops, disconnected, path upstream, and other things. And the way to use that is by selecting this tool right here, this flag, and select what type of flag you want to add. You want to add flag on the conjunction, which is the points, or you want to add a flag on the lines, on the edges, or you want to add barriers on the junctions, or you want to add a barrier on the edge. So here we will choose add a tool, and we will choose this one and this one, and we can choose this one and this one. And here is the options you can do the analysis. So for example, let's find loops. And find loops will show you the loop for this specific point. So for example, this point, it can make a loop by going all the way there and come back to it again. This one doesn't have any loops because you cannot go in a flow direction and then come back again. This one have a flow, could be any of these routes and then goes back again. And here the same, it have a flow. So electricity flow is one direction, water utility is one direction. So here it shows you the loop for the direction on separate lines. Here also we can use, for example, find path, and find path will show you how this points is connected on the geometric network. Here also you have some other options to show downstream or upstream or trace stream, and any of that might work or not based on if you have the right data for your geometric network and your utility data. So that's how you can enable the utility network analyst, and you can use it in a way to do some analysis on your geometric network. So let's close it from here. If we open this page here, ArcMap help, and say what can you do with geometric network, you have these options here that you can calculate shortest path between two pieces of the network. You can do find connected or disconnected network elements, and you can do several things here based on what kind of network you have and for what utility and what kind of data you have associated with this network that you can use for your analysis. So that's it for the geometric network. Now you know how to create it, how to edit it, and what it's used for, and how can you use it. And if you have any questions, please contact me and let me know. Thanks.